What's up, everybody? Darkside 380 here. Give me a like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on. Today, I am going to be talking about a vampire in the Philippines. It's a really tragic story, and yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting story. So, it's a little different than videos I've made in the past, but hey, we cover all the weirdness here. So let's get into it. So in 1941, the Japanese had just bombed us at Pearl Harbor. So the next thing they do is they start hitting the Philippines. And, basically at this point in time, like our forces in the Asia areas were basically depleted. So I mean, there wasn't anybody looking out for the Japanese, or for the Filipino people. So, I mean, these Japanese people just, slaughtered the Filipino people. It's a tragic story, and, over 1 million Filipino lives were lost. So, seeing that there is nobody watching them, nobody looking out for them, no form of military, some of these Filipino people decide, hey, let's join together and start a rebel group and, start fighting back. So the name of this rebel group was called Huk Belahak, also known as the Nation's Army Against the Japanese Soldiers. So finally, in 1945, much to do with the Huks, the Japanese are finally driven out of the Philippines. So, in these Filipino people's mind is, hey, this is great. We got the Japanese finally out of here and life is good. They should have known better. Because not only did the U.S. turn against them, but their own government turned against them because, the U.S. didn't want a communist regime growing, So basically, they were like, hey, it's time to shut this group down. Thank you guys for helping us out, and now we're going to go on and get you guys out of here. So, some of these rebels start hearing stories about, deep in the woods or forests that there's this like vampire type being that's coming in, killing some of these people in the forest and the woods. And in Filipino culture, this vampire-like being is called an aswang or aswang. Instead of using its teeth like a vampire, it actually uses its tongue, which I thought was pretty cool, pretty different. Maybe, sometime later I'll cover a story just on the aswang. But, yeah, they start hearing stories about all this. And so, on their patrols and everything, they're nervous, probably looking over their shoulders, So on their patrols and everything, they're like, man, the Aswang might be lurking, and then their worst nightmares finally come true. They're coming back to their base and they stumble on a road, and boom, laying on the ground is one of their fellow soldiers. And, it freaked them out. It had little puncture marks on its neck, and the blood was completely drained. So they run in terror, basically game over at that point. This is where things get interesting. What they didn't know was the U.S. had a little secret weapon that they used. And he goes by the name of Edward G. Lunsdale. Now, Mr. Lunsdale was, he used to be part of the OSS, Office of Strategic Service, or what's now known as the CIA. So this guy was like a master of psychological warfare. And, the first thing he did was, when he got to the Philippines, was started doing, his homework and stuff, seeing, hey, look, what are they scared of? What the culture is like and all that stuff. So he starts hearing about this ass wing, and, he starts playing off their fears. So it actually was a really smart move on his behalf. So he tells his soldiers, hey, look, go find one of these hook rebels, and this is what I'm going to do. He goes on and, finds his hook rebel, kills him, puts 2 little puncture marks in his neck, and then hangs him up and drains his blood. And then they throw him in the middle of the road so that these other Filipino soldiers can find him. So, yeah. It's not funny, but, so after that, after, the rebels find this person laying in the middle of the road, one of their fellow soldiers, Mr. Lunsdale decides to go throughout the village and spray painting eyes and stuff on, like, the walls, public areas. So basically letting what he was making these Filipino people think was that this was the eye of God, and if you help the rebels out, that God was watching. So this guy was pretty clever. Definitely an interesting story. I hope you guys liked it. I know it's a little bit different than the content I normally post, but hey, this was an interesting story. And it's kind of creepy, kind of scary. Figured you guys would like it. So yeah, thank you guys.